So I moved to Joyce because, by the way, I met Joyce in US 3 years ago in the events of ASCM, and she's one of the very nice people. So Joyce, I think you are very human, you know. She's lively, she's always nice, and she's helping everyone. And she told me once she wants to, I asked her to be my master instructor, and she said she would love to do that. And she was so genuine. So Joyce is one of the people, very rare people you meet in your life. So that's why I'm keen to give you 15 minutes and listen to you. Joyce, floor is yours.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shree. As I go through this presentation, if you want me to share, you can do that, or I can share either one. I've modified it to it. I want to thank everyone today. My name is Joyce Lewis. Yes, excellent. I am a master instructor for ASCM, APICS certification courses, and instructor content delivery. I'm based out of Los Angeles, and I'd like to really thank everyone today and to Symbios for inviting me to share some of my knowledge and my experience. It's really important for you to know that I am not an AI expert, and I'm not sure if anyone that goes through and works with AI ever feels like an expert when working with tools. I'm a supply chain practitioner, just like many attendees on this call, but I'm also an early adopter in efficiency tools, and I have the privilege to instruct and mentor many supply chain professionals through their AI journey. And I am excited to see many of my AI colleagues on this call. We're all hearing about AI and data centers and LLMs and NLPs and petabytes. You know, and it's filling up our news, and it can be really intimidating for many supply chain professionals. You know, how do we navigate this constant change? And so fundamentally understand that AI is a workplace tool. And I entered the business world when we had to write letters, then send faxes, then send emails, then work on ERP systems, APS systems, on. And AI is just the next set of tools that we can use in our environment. And the key to understand is that not all tools are alike, and tools are only as good as its programming and development and evolution. AI can do a lot of these tasks that I have listed, but please be warned, it is designed to hallucinate. It really doesn't know all the answers, and if you ask AI to perform a math problem, you got to know it doesn't use a calculator or Excel like we would think. AI doesn't have all the answers. It uses resources to identify the best and the most reasonable outcome. And so the source of those resources is extremely important. Next slide. So let's take a look at kind of what AI does really well and how I can believe that we can answer that question that I posed, you know, at the very beginning. Is it going to replace us or not? The left-hand side shows what AI does really well, and the right-hand side shows those human skills that AI is really not effective for at this time. So take a look at the first one on the left. AI can process large amounts of information, but if that information is not structured in a means that it can understand, it's not going to do very well. It's like taking a spreadsheet containing 100 million cells of data, which I've gotten pretty close on that, but not organizing that data in rows and columns. The output is not going to be what you expect. Data needs to be structured for AI to work on it well. On the left side, look at the human intelligence skills. And although you can use AI to help you analyze scenarios and options, it's really not able to identify risks when a learned situation doesn't fit a pattern. And so the example is down. If you want to go ahead and click down at the bottom, there's one more click on this. There is an actual example that is on my side. There you go, a supply chain example there. I like to use what I call the 70-30 rule. I like rules. AI could handle about 70% of a work in a supply chain situation, like you might have in a constrained supply chain situation. These things are routine, repetitive, but human skills are going to be needed for those 30% of that problem resolution. 30% of the problem is really about strategic judgment, but you need to know what that 70% is all about. How do these tools work? How can you use your tools and your output from AI to support your judgment in that area? And so next slide, please. Thank you. So this next slide that's coming up shows those 30% of what those human skills are that are becoming more important in this ever-changing world. The top two to me are most important: problem solving and questioning as well. Understanding how to question is like understanding how do you prompt. Do you have the right questioning skills? I teach questioning skills in ASCM's LDI class, and I'm really a little bit surprised on the foundations of questioning that I need to cover with that. So if that's one area that I'm going to recommend, it's absolutely development in that area. In today's panel, Grant talked about data fluency and understanding, and I'd like to include that in that business acumen that I've listed. I teach a very basic data analytics course, and I'm seeing supply chain professionals that don't understand the difference between descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. So having foundations of understanding not only the tools of business acumen are going to be really important. If you have a foundational understanding of data fluency, then it fits really well with all the other human skills here: judgment, leadership, ethics, negotiation, your relationship management, and strategic decision making. Let's go ahead and click, because this quote here is my own, and it's truly how I believe, and that quote's going to be coming up there real shortly. There you go. The future is going to really be shaped, and the future of our world and what we work in is going to be shaped by supply chain professionals that understand and combine the human skills, your human intelligence, your human skills and judgment with AI capabilities. You can't have a 70-30 or a 20-80 split without sharing those responsibilities and understanding in that. Go ahead and go to the next skill. Next slide on that. Excellent. Thank you. So as I'm going through, there's so many different ways that you can use AI. I want you to know I'm using 2 AI tools right now in this presentation, but I like to make lists to help manage my world. And here's my top 5 lists, and the asterisk items are probably the ones that I do most on this list. So as I'm using those tools, I really have to identify what my outcome is. If I'm going in there and tailoring some messages in my emails, I might use ChatGPT or Gemini. I might run my report output maybe through Grammarly or Perplexity, but I would never use ChatGPT to generate a presentation like I've seen some instructors do in their Train the Trainer classes. I tried it and the result was just unusable. It's not just the tool also that you're going to use, but it's kind of the model and the subscription level that you also purchase. As an example, Claude is not really good. I don't find it for tailoring messages. It's not always the clearest. But if you have some of their higher level plans, like a Claude Max plan, which I have access to, it costs about $100 per month. But if you really do some of those, you can train it on content, and you can also create some really excellent presentations that you're seeing through this. Again, the output is subject to how you prompted it and how you defined your requirements. And with any model and any type of tool that you use, sometimes the basic alternatives may not work, but it starts off that idea generation that I'm looking for sometimes. It gives me that what if I thought about this? What if I did this? That sometimes then helps me through that 30% skill. Go ahead and change to the next slide. All right, no offense to anyone. There are some wonderful, unbelievably experienced speakers in this area. So no offense to anyone that Ricardo and Stefan, but the average supply chain professional is not a data scientist and will not need to become one if you need to thrive. What you do need is on the right. It's curiosity about AI. When you hear about LLM, NLPs, RAG, petabytes, do you take the time to understand that terminology and the language of AI? Take RAG, which is Retrieval Augmented Generation Tool. Did you know that Google Notebooks Notebook LM, if you've ever used that before, is exactly a RAG type of a tool? And it functions like a research agent that summarizes information based on the documents that you upload. And so rather than relying on internet resources, and this tool really affects my training world. If that's the repetitive work that I've been doing for my course learners, and I'm actually not seeing the presentation now, if you wouldn't mind, thank you so much. If that's what I've been doing and that's been my competitive advantage, how now will I have a competitive advantage as an instructor? You know, use tools the same way that you use search engines, spreadsheets, collaboration. Go ahead and click one more time. Absolutely. Keep in mind as it's going through, and again, my delay is what everyone is delaying here, is you're going through, you know, you're the decision maker. AI is your tool as you're going in there. AI is going to use support, just like you have to figure out what tools to use when you're building a house, when you're building a business. You've got to figure out what tools AI is going to be useful for. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So what's a practical and powerful AI approach that you can take? Go ahead and once you get to that next slide, I want to encourage you to take a very strategic approach to your AI learning. As you can see by the initials I had after my name, I like assessing my understanding and my capability, and I truly believe in certifications as a foundational understanding. But I don't have a company spending $350,000 on my training, so I like to find tools that are reasonable costing, that I can refer these resources to my mentees and learners as I'm going in there. So my first step is for you to take, and recommendation is to take an AI proficiency evaluation. Go through, and I've shared mine here. This is what I've used. I've taken quite a few. I really liked this because it actually had a supply chain role associated with that. And if I could have Zanab go ahead and in chat, you can even see what my results are as you're going through. And I'll let you know, this is a great tool to have a baseline understanding. Then based on your proficiency results, it gives you a better understanding. There you go. There's my results right there. Some areas like tool proficiency, I scored a 4.0 out of a 4.0. In some areas, I could see the gaps in my knowledge that I needed to be able to take. And of course, in supply chain, since I am a practitioner, I really understood the use of AI in all of those areas. This is a foundational tool, but what I really liked about it is that it gave me some resources then that I could go to. I've signed up for some of those classes. I've gone through that process and taking a look at what's my next steps. You know, that's what you need to do. Choose your timeline for skill development based on your proficiency, understand your capability and how fast you need to close your capability gap. Build and commit to your own schedule. I look at the suggested list and I signed up for 2 courses right away. Some of them are on my plan for the rest of the year. You know, apply what you learn then on a regular basis. You get to define what regular means. Do I set up an AI task that I'm going to work on every day, every week, whatever that month is? Again, you get to decide that. Start with small steps. Achieve quick wins in your understanding, and then use that momentum to get to the next level. And don't forget to share that momentum and that understanding with your peers and colleagues. Last but not least, here's something I started to do. After frequent use, I started asking the AI tool and using it as a continuous improvement partner. I asked it to review my prompts, you know, review my use of the tool, identify my gaps, and, you know, basically suggest better ways that I could get the help that I needed out of that. All right. I just want to let you know there is no one magic career formula. So I'd like to share my personal career formula. Go ahead and go to the next slide. You've got to understand your human expertise and AI capabilities, like this entire presentation, as well as the conference, is about understanding what's possible, and that's going to be your future success. Continue to the next, click on the next one. Once you determine what your competitive advantage is, you've got to also understand the tool that you're going to use, the actions that you're going to take, and then finally, the last one, which is the last part of the slide. Go ahead and click to the last part that basically says, I'd like to give everyone a challenge here. Make a decision before you leave today's conference to take an AI task. What specifically are you going to do in the next week to support your AI development? Because the world is not going to wait for you in that area. There's just so many things going on right now. Start that fundamental, get to the next level, understand where you're at, and apply strategy and what you do in supply chain to your own personal career development. Thank you, everyone. And
thank you, Joyce.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Aman, for sharing my results in the chat. Those are my results that you can see. I still have a lot to learn about that. But as I'm developing others, I want to give them some tools and resources that you can go ahead and use that are quite reasonably priced if you don't have that large company supporting you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. We look forward to meeting you in the conference. And by the way, there is always an opportunity to join and learn from top people who are humble, willing to share everything with everyone. It will be ASCM conference for every year. It's supply chain change, or the change, or it used to be called before ASCM Connect, not anymore. And that's a big event for everyone who wants to learn about what's new, meet those beautiful people in person. And there is always opportunity for early birds. You can get a discount or through partners, and it will be in September this year. I think it's where you live, Joyce, right? It will be in LA this year.
Yes, it's where I work. I actually live in Phoenix, Arizona, which is very much like the weather in Saudi Arabia, but it's in where I work, which is out of Los Angeles. Excited to see. If you see me, please let me know that you've come to this conference as well if I see you at that next conference. Hope to see everyone there.
Yes. Supply chain, where we meet the top supply chain partners. People learn from each one, and it's always amazing. I have attended 3 times. It's impressive each time.